What's up guys, Meredith with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we are checking out the Rough Country 2-inch front leveling kit with lifted N3 struts and premium N3 shocks, fitting all 2021 and newer four-wheel drive F-150s without the CCD system and excluding those Raptor models. If you're looking for a budget-friendly solution to replacing your worn-out shocks and struts, in addition to getting some height to gain some better capability for your F-150, this is going to be a great kit to choose. Now this kit will be great for you, worn-out suspension or not, if you want to increase your performance on and off-road with a more responsive system in addition to getting some more height, something that a spacer lift won't be able to offer. This will also fit up to a 33-inch tire, which will not only help you with your performance if you are taking your truck on the dirt, but will help with your truck styling with a better street presence. This kit will offer you more than the average leveling solutions with a full N3 pre-assembled strut and shocks that will offer your truck the height and tougher components for better longevity and performance. The height here will allow a larger tire, increase your ground clearance so you can clear obstacles that you previously could have hit, and will just make the truck look good, eliminating the rake for a more intimidating stance. Now the shocks and struts will also do well with a 10-stage variable valving system, which just means that they are going to adapt very well to different terrains and will be gas charged to reduce any cavitation, which is basically just foaming that forms inside the shock and causes shock fade over time and that squishy feeling, which is something that you may be experiencing now. But this kit is going to offer the opposite and offer it for the long run. The struts and shocks have a large 54mm steel body with a metallic silver paint, and the bigger construction will dissipate heat quickly, keeping the shock cooler and working more efficiently over time, especially if you're working your suspension really hard. Now this will also have a hardened chromed piston rod in each of the dampeners here, which will resist any damage or nicks that may cause potential damage, and quality seals to maintain a solid leak-free construction. The strut will also come fully assembled, again taking some work out of the install, but it will still be a tougher one, so just keep that in mind. Although upper control arms are not necessary here, I would also recommend to add them with this kit down the line. Aside from the shocks and the struts, you'll also get 1-inch lift blocks. These are going to be a true 1-inch that are going to go under your leaf spring on the axle. They're made of a tough plastic material. It is very dense, so you can expect no rusting or anything out of these because they are plastic and they'll hold up well, especially to the elements. You're also getting longer U-bolts and everything else you need in the kit in order to install it. Now I do want to mention that although upper control arms here aren't necessary, I would recommend to add them with this kit down the line. With the suspension height altering some suspension angles, specifically your caster, I do recommend getting them just to get your alignment closest to factory as possible to reduce wear on parts and have even tread wear. This will cost you around $550, and for a suspension lift, I think that that's a great price. This kit will bring more to the table than the average leveling kit, including the fully assembled coil and strut here, the shocks, lift blocks, in addition to all the hardware needed, which is not only going to give you the height, but more performance in drivability compared to a puck spacer lift or a more entry-level kit. Now this also doesn't go over the top if you just want the basics to get the benefits of a 2-inch lift without going overboard, keeping it on a budget for your build. I did mention that install is going to be a little bit tougher with this one. I am going to give it a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, so I'd recommend some mechanical experience in order to do this, and it should take you about 4 hours or so with the correct tools and the correct setup. Now at this point we can head over to our shop and check out a detailed breakdown step by step on how to get this onto your truck at home, or if you're just curious on the step-by-step process, we can go through that right now.
For this install, you will need various size pry bars, air and electric impacts, a ratchet, a swivel adapter, 3/8 to 1/2-inch adapter if necessary, 10, 15, 18, 19, 21, and 22mm sockets, 15mm ratcheting wrench, 18 and 22mm wrenches, a hammer, a ball joint service tool, a bungee cord, and also not shown here is a pole jack or jack and jack stands. What's up guys, today we're going to be doing a leveling kit on our F-150, so let's get started. So we're going to go ahead and get our rear disassembled here, and we're going to start by removing our shocks. So what we're going to do is come to our lower mounting point first and remove our mounting bolt using our 15mm socket on our impact and an 18mm wrench for the bottom. And the top one, you just need your 15mm socket on your impact because it has a flag nut on the back side. Go ahead and pull that out of the cradle there. We'll go ahead and remove our top bolt. We'll support our shock and remove our bolt. Go ahead and pull our shock away. Now you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the 4 nuts holding our U-bolts in place on our cradle here. So we'll grab our 21mm socket on our impact, go ahead and run those off. Support your cradle as you remove your last bolt. So now that we have our nuts off of our U-bolts, we can go ahead and pull those off. Then once we have these off, we're going to loosen up the other side. We're not going to fully remove it just yet, just so we can get enough travel to get our new blocks in place. And then we'll go ahead and start putting everything back together and do the same thing on the other side. So now that we have our other side loosened up, we'll go ahead and lower our differential down just enough to get our new additional block in place. Now this is going to go on top of the factory block and slide into the dowels here, as well as the dowels on the leaf springs. Now that we have our block set in place, we'll go ahead and raise our differential back up. Make sure your dowels line up. Now we can go ahead and install our new U-bolts. Slide those into the same position our factory ones were in. We'll reinstall our factory cradle. Then we'll go ahead and install our supplied flat washers and lock nuts. Now we're going to leave this like this for now, and we'll do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll tighten both sides up evenly. So now we'll go ahead and grab our 22mm socket on our impact and tighten all these down. Now you do want to use a deep socket, and you want to alternate the side of which you're tightening so that your cradle tightens up with even pressure on your differential. Now you will find you will get to a point where your socket bottoms out and you can't fully tighten these. Now you have 2 options here. For demonstration purposes, we're just going to grab a 22mm wrench and finish tightening these up. You at home, if it's going to be more of a permanent option, you can go ahead and trim down your U-bolts to your desired length and leave a little bit of throat at the end, but you'll be able to get your socket on. We're just going to go ahead and do ours with a wrench. Once I start feeling this side getting tight, I'm going to switch over to the other side just to pull that cradle back even. So now that we've got this side tightened up, we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Now we can go ahead and install our new shocks, reusing our factory 15mm bolts and flag nut for the top and 18mm nut for the bottom. So we'll go ahead and get this lined up. Install our bolt. Then we'll thread our flag nut on the back side. Now we'll get our bottom mounting point in position. So it's a little bit longer, so what we can do is actually compress our shock, get it up in our mount cradle, get our mounting bolt in position. Go ahead and send that through. Get our nut on. We'll tighten up our top mounting bolt first, again with our 15mm socket on our impact. Now, because of our new U-bolt's length and location, we're going to add in a swivel adapter to our 15mm socket. Then you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So now it's time to get our front struts out. So we're going to start with our 10mm socket on our ratchet and remove our brake line bracket here on our steering knuckle. Go ahead and get that bracket free. Then we're going to go ahead and stick that 10mm bolt right back in its spot. This just makes it easier to keep track of it. Next, we're going to go ahead and separate our sway bar end link from our knuckle. So we'll grab our 21mm socket on our impact, run that nut off, and just push our sway bar end link out of its mounting point. Swing that back, then we're going to place that nut right back on the end link there. Again, this just makes things easier to keep track of. Next, we'll go ahead and get our outer tie rod out of our knuckle. So we'll grab our 21mm socket again and run this nut off. So now sometimes you might get lucky and your tie rod might just pop right out of your knuckle. However, most of the times that will not be the case. What you're going to do is grab this ball joint service tool and you'll go ahead and hook that onto your knuckle and get this threaded part onto the bottom of your stud. And then use your, in our case, a 16mm socket to go ahead and push this up, and that should release the outer tie rod from its seat in the knuckle. So we'll go ahead and pop that off. Now we have that free. Then again, we'll go ahead and stick that nut right back onto our tie rod. Now we can go ahead and loosen up the mounting nut for our upper ball joint here. Now we're not going to fully remove it just yet. We're just going to get it nice and loose and leave it a couple threads on. So now we'll grab our 18mm socket and swivel adapter. Go ahead and loosen this up. And we're going to leave that a good couple threads on. Now we're going to go ahead and grab a bungee cord and we're going to wrap that around the top of the knuckle. That's going to prevent it from falling out and pulling our axle or damaging any of our bushings or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and wrap this around. And you have a nice spot to hook it right here. Now you can either use the ball joint service tool again, or because this isn't directly connected to your electronic steering anymore, you can use a ball peen hammer and smack the side of this and go ahead and shock that and get that upper ball joint to release. So we'll go ahead and do it that way. Notice how that nut caught your knuckle here. That's just so it doesn't go crazy and fall off. We can go ahead and remove this nut. That's going to pop right off. Then we'll gently let our knuckle fall to the side here. And then again, we'll go ahead and replace that nut right back onto our ball joint. So now we'll go ahead and remove our two lower mounting nuts for our strut, again with our 18mm socket on our impact. This is going to drop your strut down and your lower control arm. Now we can go ahead and remove the 3 upper strut mounting nuts with our 15mm ratcheting wrench. I like to use an S wrench, but a regular ratchet wrench will do. This back one you want to go ahead and remove while you have one nut still tight. Just makes it a lot easier to get it off. Notice we left this other one on. That's going to help support it as we get this last one loose. Now we'll go ahead and lift up on our strut just a hair to take the tension off of this nut. So now we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves a pry bar. We're going to get in between the bottom of our strut and our lower control arm, and we're going to pry down gently. You want to keep in mind, you want to keep an eye on your axle just to make sure nothing pulls too far or anything like that. Should have enough room, shouldn't be an issue. So we'll go ahead and wedge this down. We'll support our strut and pop it out. We can go ahead and remove our strut. Now once you've got this complete for this side, you can go ahead and repeat these same steps for the other side. So now we can go ahead and get our new strut installed. So we'll get our top mounting studs lined up with our perch, and go ahead and grab our provided flange nuts, get those loosely in place, then we'll get the bottom mounted up. So now we're going to get our bottom mounting points on. We're going to grab our provided bolt and flat washer and put that through each one of the mounting points here. We may have to work these in with a little persuasion. Now once we've got those worked in, we'll go ahead and grab our flat washer and lock nut, each one of our bolts here. Now we'll go ahead and tighten these down with our 19mm socket on our impact and an 18mm wrench. So now we'll go ahead and get our upper ball joint back into our knuckle. So we'll swing this back over, remove that nut, line this back up. We may need a small pry bar to get this back in. And hold that in place and reinstall our nut. Then we can go ahead and get our bungee cord out of there. Now we'll go ahead and grab our 18mm socket and swivel adapter again on our impact and tighten this down. Now we'll go ahead and get our outer tie rod back into our knuckle, line that up, get that seated, get that nut reinstalled, and we'll tighten that back down again with our 21mm socket. Now we can go ahead and get our sway bar end link back on, and we'll take that nut off, go ahead and line this up, pop that in. And we'll tighten that nut back down with our 21mm socket. Now we'll go ahead and reinstall our brake line bracket. Get that lined up, reinstall that bolt. Then we'll tighten that back down with our 10mm socket on our ratchet. Now we can go ahead and tighten down our upper strut mounting nuts, again with our 15mm ratchet wrench. Now once you have this all done, you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our Rough Country 2-inch front leveling kit with lifted N3 struts and premium N3 shocks for your 21 to current 4-wheel drive F-150 without CCD system, excluding the Raptor. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.